Hi, and welcome to the summary of How to Know a Person, Part 1. This is a very important book because many people in the modern world have no idea how to get to know someone, especially with so much technology running our lives. Like many of us, the author grew up in a loving household, but wasn't allowed to express himself. This personal journey that the author was on to become a whole human with unique challenges is something we can all relate to. Being open-hearted is a requirement for being a kind and wise person. Emotional intelligence is necessary in conversations and just in daily life because it makes everyone feel seen at an event or at a gathering or even just at home. Wise people have a compassionate understanding of others as well as many other skills. Do you? Schools need to focus on teaching kids how to be considerate of others and not just focus on future careers, because I think whole person development is very important. Today, social media contributes to dehumanization since it gives people the illusion of friendship without having to put in the work of being an actual friend. So the author is passionate about focusing on social skills. All the social skills are based on one's ability to make others feel seen and understand what they are going through. Are you good at helping others feel seen, and do you understand them well? I think this is one of the main points of the book. Making someone feel invisible is the worst, and maybe you've experienced that in a job situation or with a group of friends, perhaps. As I understand it, one of the main points of the book is that people can't make good, big decisions in life unless they understand others well, because let's face it, they probably don't understand their motives or what drives a person forward or even their own underlying motivations if they don't understand what drives a person. Just think about all the times when you thought you knew what your employer wanted, or you thought that you could just read your partner, but that turned out wrong. Technology won't be able to create personal connections that are very meaningful and thoughtful. The longer couples are married, the less they can read each other, according to the author. And this kind of surprised me a little because you would think the longer you know a person, the more you know them, but that's not necessarily true. That's why it's essential that you ask your partner what they want every few months and not just assume what they really want or need. Most people don't view others accurately, and they mostly see them as they see themselves, which means they often judge based on how they would react to a situation rather than how another person would react. Some people are just not curious about others, and the second reason for this lack of accuracy is anxiety. People have too much going on in their minds and are concerned about what others think about them to be curious about them. Have you ever met someone who's never asking you any questions? Somebody who keeps to themselves? That may be part of the problem. Each person is a mystery, and disconnection causes emotional casualties. One can love a person but not know them thoroughly. Have you ever loved someone from a distance, or maybe thought you did? Being receptive means opening yourself up to others and watching for what a person offers, rather than what you would do in their situation. I watch too many people judge others based on how they think they would react in a particular situation. That's why it's important to get to know a person's story so that you don't judge them based on your perspective, but based on where they're coming from instead. Active curiosity, as the author emphasizes, is not just another way to get to know a person, but a key that keeps us engaged and motivated in our relationships. It's like the fuel that adds the spark to a relationship. It's the thing that keeps it going and alive. It's not just another optional thing. And paying attention to someone is the most genuine form of love. Families are imperfect, as we all know, but are often one of the most significant sources of joy. Also, being aware and playful are the two ways to go about approaching someone. And just being a witness and just seeing your friend is the top touchstone of friendship. And it's not about improving each other, it's just about seeing each other in the moment. Chapter 5. There is an objective and a subjective reality, as we all know, but what really surprised me about this book is that the subjective one is more important, is what it mentions. And maybe that's not so surprising because when it comes to relationships and from all the books I've read about couples, it's actually more important to focus on the subjective reality, or how you make someone feel and how you feel around them, rather than just focusing on who's right. It's not about what happens to you, as Aldous Huxley says. It's about what one does with what happens to you. That's how you define a person. People see things not as they are, but as they are as people. In other words, people see things through the lens of all their trauma and all of their life history and all their experiences, which may not be objective, but they see it through how their life experiences have shaped them. People see the world with their entire lives, not just with their eyes. The senses have a poor interpretation of the world, and the mind makes a feature film based on the limited data that your senses collect. It's best to understand a person at their core rather than reduce them to personality or label. Of course, that's not always easy to understand a person at their core. It's good to see a person as a creator and how certain events have shaped them. A good conversationalist is someone who can create a two-way conversation, read a person well, and create mutual understanding. Have you ever had a friend who just leaves you unread, or doesn't know what you're going through, or maybe talks too much and you don't have a chance to really share about yourself, and so you don't feel heard and understood? This skill of being a good conversationalist also helps to bring out the best in others. For example, they might open up to you, and maybe new opportunities will come your way, and maybe that person will get inspired by something you said. In Japan, people stop and reflect before replying to a speaker, and I think that's very thoughtful. A good conversationalist is like a midwife. They make the speaker feel safe and encourage them to be more honest. Kids ask many blunt questions, as you probably have seen, but they become less personal and intimate as kids get older. They're kind of afraid to ask those honest questions. Admitting that you don't know something is hard, which is why some people stop asking questions altogether to protect themselves. The author trained himself as a journalist to approach people at uncomfortable times and ask them questions. Asking people questions is a great way to know who they are, but they should be left open-ended. Thank you for watching. The next part is coming soon.